What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Benchwarmer Sports. And the Browns Commanders preseason game just wrapped up about a couple minutes ago. It's about 12 o'clock at night. They were supposed to get kicked off around 7:30, but instead they had about just over an hour of a rain delay, a severe weather delay. They didn't get kicked off until 8:45, which luckily for me was right around the time I got off of work, so I was able to, see pretty much most of this game for you guys tonight. But I'm going to be giving you guys my thoughts and opinions about what I saw from the Browns tonight, from a Browns fan's perspective. Just seeing, what I thought and what I think the Browns should do and what we should be expecting for this upcoming season. So without further ado, let's get into the big story of the game, which of course is Deshaun Watson's first start of the season. Coming into the game, we knew that he was going to be playing. Kevin Stefanski said that on, I believe, was it Tuesday, Wednesday, saying that Deshaun was going to start in this game. Didn't really know how much he would play. Some said, a series or two or a couple like that. Well, here he started the game, got his first series. We saw Elijah Moore, the versatility that he could bring to this team. First play from scrimmage, had him lined up in the backfield, got him for an 18-yard play for a run. And Deshaun Watson, to his credit, he looked pretty good. 3 for 3, 12 yards, ran 3 times for 20 yards. Put together a pretty solid drive. One thing I liked that I saw that I liked was that we kind of used all the new pieces on the offense, at least for the starting, the starters. Elijah Moore got some touches there. We saw Demetric Felton, what he could do if he's given the opportunity. Deshaun Watson looked pretty solid tonight. So yeah, I was pretty, satisfied. I would say that's the best word I could use for Deshaun Watson's performance, at least my evaluation of Deshaun Watson's performance. I'm satisfied from what I saw. Now I'm glad that we've been told from Jim Donovan that he's probably not going to play next week against the Eagles because of those 2 joint practices that they're having with them. So he's probably not going to play against them in the preseason game, but he will play against the Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead. I think the 26th of August. So the dress rehearsal basically before the season starts, about 2 weeks before the season starts officially. Deshaun Watson will play again, and I think that's a smart move because you don't want him to go a month without playing. So I think it's a smart move for Stefanski to play Watson and pretty much most of the starters, on that Kansas City game, both about 2 weeks before the season starts officially. But yeah, I thought Watson looked fine. Elijah Moore stood out to me, of course. Had that 18-yard run, caught a pass as well. Looked really, really fast, which is what we've been, looking at in camp, what we've been told by reporters. Elijah Moore looks like he can be a really good threat. Of course, we had that injury scare early in the game. Just saw a tweet that said that he got sent to the medical tent, and he was walking to the locker room. And of course, Brown's Twitter was like, "Oh my God, please don't tell us that because he played in the preseason game that he's going to get hurt." So luckily, X-rays on his ribs were negative, so he didn't really have anything wrong with him. So that's very good to hear. I think overall, I would say the starters looked good. Defensively, I think our front 7 starters looked pretty solid. Zadarius Smith, Obo Okoronkwo, Juan Thornhill really are those 3 main standouts for me. Maurice Hurst even had some couple of plays, but he's more of a depth guy. But yeah, I think those 3 guys on defense looked pretty good from what I could see and hear on the radio. A lot of them were getting a lot of pressure, caused some holding calls against the right tackle. I forget his name, but from Kansas City they just signed the right tackle. Got called for a couple of holding calls, which caused a safety. But I thought the defense, especially the front 7, looked pretty good. Secondary, on the other hand, I thought the secondary still looked like they were having some problems with miscommunication. I don't know if that's really on personnel or if that's scheme, but we're starting to see again there's some miscommunication in the backfield because there were some guys who were left wide open in some coverages. A lot of guys looking around too, especially in that back end of the secondary around the safety area in the middle of the field. Some miscommunications with them. Now you could say maybe with some guys on the bench, some depth guys. They're not going to be playing every down, so it may not be that big of a deal. But still, you don't want to see miscommunication in the backfield after what we've gone through the last couple of years with Joe Woods' defense and the miscommunication that has caused so much hardship for the Browns and has cost them a lot of games, frankly, namely that New York Jets game from last season that we all are horrified to remember. But yeah, that's the problem there. From what I saw, I have to say too, the Commanders' quarterbacks, Brissett had some really, really good throws tonight. So they did have some trouble with covering that, but Brissett just put the ball in some places that were just absolutely perfect throws. But overall, starters wise, I thought that they looked fine. I really don't want to overestimate or overhype what they did today because they really only played like a series or two. Watson only played a series. The defensive guys probably played like two series. I don't want to overstate what they did tonight because it's a really small sample size. I don't think that we're going to see, we're not going to get the full picture from this game. I'll be really interested to see what they do for the Kansas City game. I really want to know what they're going to do with that in terms of how many players they're going to start, or at least how many starters are going to play. I think it's really important to see that because I think it's a nice dress rehearsal. I would probably play them more in that game against Kansas City than I would in this game. I probably would try and see if I could get them to at least a quarter, maybe a quarter and a half. Then you can probably take them out and do whatever you want with them after that. But I feel like a quarter and a half of Deshaun Watson and the Browns just trying to get that rhythm going before we get into week one against the Bengals is going to be very important because that 4-game stretch before the bye is very crucial for the Cleveland Browns this season. But now I think we've talked about the starters long enough. I wanted to get to some of the stuff that I really, really did not like tonight. And I kind of mentioned the first time miscommunication in the backfield from what we saw in the defensive backfield. Just really, really poor communication sometimes led to a lot of breakdowns in that back half of the defense. Already said that. Another one that I was really kind of down on, Anthony Schwartz again. I don't want to sound like a broken record here. I've kept saying the guy is not a football player, and I don't want to dogpile on him because I think his confidence is shot. I mean, you can see it. The guy hangs his head when he doesn't catch the ball, and fans were booing him down at the stadium when he dropped the ball multiple times. If I'm Andrew Berry or Kevin Stefanski or Bubba Ventrone, I just genuinely do not see a place why Anthony Schwartz makes it on this team, while someone like Austin Watkins, who had a pretty decent game again tonight, doesn't make the team. I just don't see it. I don't really understand why that would happen. If that does happen, I think that's a terrible mistake and a terrible look for a locker room that really, I think that they need a spark and they need to show accountability. I don't think Anthony Schwartz is a football player. I don't think he's all that. I don't want to say bad stuff about the guy because I don't like kicking a person while they're down. But yeah, Anthony Schwartz is not on this football team. He can't be. He cannot be on this football team after the cutting period. But yeah, he had a lot of bad drops tonight. It just sucks. It sucks to see him because he looks like his confidence is shot. I mean, I just don't know what you would do with him, honestly. But moving on from Anthony Schwartz, we got Cade York. Cade York yet again misses another field goal. I think it's time you probably bring someone in for competition. I think it's a little bit past due, in my opinion. Granted, he missed one in the Hall of Fame game uh, last week, but he misses another one this week for some reason, and I don't understand why. Every single time you see him in practice, the guy makes him 100%. I mean, from anywhere. He's 100% in practice. But for some reason, during game time situations, like preseason or regular season, the guy just gets, I don't know if it's jitters or something, but for whatever reason, the guy just cannot perform when it comes to game time. He can't. He can make everything in practice. The guy can freaking make it from 70 yards in practice, but he sails a wide right every time on a 45-yarder. That's not good. That's not good. And it hurts more given the fact that we used a fourth round pick on him last season. I think this was a massive overreach by Andrew Berry and a massive overreaction by Andrew Berry. Granted, I know a lot of people were hyping up the move last offseason, but even then, I still think drafting a kicker fourth round is way too high. That's way too high. Uh, it's I think you need to have someone come in. I don't know who you would get. I've seen people want Robbie Gould from former 49er to come on in for a workout. I don't know. I don't know if that's good or not. I don't really pay attention to kickers. The worst part is that the saying that I like the most is that you should not notice anything about the kicker. You don't notice anything about the kicker unless they start screwing stuff up. You don't want to be the guy that's like, oh, we know who you are. You're either going to be known for being good, doing good things. You're not going to be known at all because you're consistent, but you're just like, meh. Or you're going to be known for being really bad. Cade York's starting to fall into you're going to be known for being really bad. I think he's starting to slip into that because for some reason during game time situations, he cannot deliver. He doesn't deliver as much as we need him to. And this season is way too important for someone like Cade York to miss a field goal here and there that could alter the Browns' record from 12-5 and winning the division to 10-7 and being on the wild card watch. That's very important. I think you give him the start of the season, but I definitely think you need to bring someone in right now to get his butt moving. I think you give him the start of the season, but if he still does not perform, you got to cut your losses. This season's way too important for him to hold you back. Third of all, fourth of all, in my disappointing things I saw tonight, special teams coverage still. Not looking like it's looking lackluster right now. We had the whole Mike Prefer was the horrible, special teams coordinator that we needed him gone. 100% agree with that. I don't have any qualms about getting rid of Mike Prefer. But my guy, people, not here, but people sung the high heavens about how Bubba Ventrone was going to fix the special teams and this and that. And so far, throughout the first two preseason games, I know that most of the guys he's working with right now are probably not going to be on the team, or they're going to be really, far back on the depth chart guys. But still, the coverages that we've been seeing on special teams, especially for kickoffs, have been really concerning to say the least. A lot of guys have been able to get onto the edge. At least, they've been able to, get to the sideline and then turn up field. Juan Thornhill had the first kickoff. He was able to shove the guy out of bounds, but the guy almost broke free. He almost got across that edge. That was a little bit concerning. I thought that was a little bit concerning for the Browns. Special teams has been a really tough position or field for the Browns the last couple of years, especially kick returner. I still don't know who our kick returner is. That's another issue that we're having. We saw Donovan Peoples-Jones return a punt, or at least fair catch a punt. Demetric Felton pretty much had sole kick return duties after that. Jakeem Grant's still on your roster. I don't know. We don't know who is going to be our returner yet, which is kind of insane to me at this point because we brought Jakeem Grant in last season to be that guy before he tore his Achilles. I don't know, but I thought that special teams overall, coverage wise, Cade York, you could probably lump Cade York into this critique as well. I thought they had a bad night tonight. I didn't think that they were all too, great. And I hope that Bubba Ventrone can, fix the coverage issues. Hopefully he can get into Cade York's head and get his butt moving to try and, get his accuracy fixed. But that's going to be my second to last one. Finally, the last one that I have on tonight for stuff I was disappointed in. Backup quarterbacks. Now, Jacoby Brissett looked pretty good tonight. It's maybe an overreaction, but we all remember last season, Josh Dobbs was like the MVP of the Browns preseason last season. But tonight he looked terrible. He looked very inaccurate, doing his best Baker Mayfield impression by overthrowing receivers by about 5 yards. He didn't look. He looked a little rusty. He looked like he was off sync, off time with the receivers there. I thought that was a little bit concerning, at least for me, because most of his incompletions were high throws, and a lot of the balls sailed on him. DTR looked decent again. He wasn't as great as the Hall of Fame game last week, but he still had his moments. Got a touchdown pass to David Bell this week or tonight, which was pretty good. Your first touchdown drive of the game. I thought DTR looked pretty solid tonight. Then Kellen Mond, same thing. I don't think Kellen Mond makes this team unless he's a practice squad guy. I think, in my opinion, right now DTR is winning that number 2 job for me, at least. Now, knowing Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski, I don't think they're going to make him QB2. I think they're going to make Dobbs QB2. But if you're going to ask me, if I was the coach of the Cleveland Browns and if I had, if I could make the depth chart, right now I would put DTR at number 2 and then Dobbs at 3. I feel like DTR has shown that he can, manage an offense. He did that at UCLA for 5 years. I think he's going to be a decent quarterback. I'm not saying he's going to be a world beater or set the world on fire, but I think he's a solid quarterback. I'm not saying he's not the best, but I think he's pretty solid. I think I'd be interested to see, God forbid Deshaun Watson goes down. If you want to ask me do I want to see Josh Dobbs or DTR, I'd rather see DTR. I'd rather see what we can get from DTR than Josh Dobbs. So yeah, that's just saying. If I had the choice, DTR is my number 2 guy right now. But yeah, the backup quarterbacks tonight looked a little bit rusty. Didn't look as well rounded as I would have liked. But yeah, I still think that overall what we saw tonight, more positives because of the starters. The starters were big positives. I think they outweigh the negatives. Again, Austin Watkins showed out again tonight. Mike Ford, that cornerback, he did some pretty good things tonight as well. Cam Mitchell, once again. I think tonight was a pretty good night for the starters and for a couple of the guys. But yeah, just some stuff to be concerned about, though. I'm not going to go too crazy right now. We're not going to get the Benchwarmer sports rant right now. But if this happens in the regular season, then yeah, we're gonna get some ranting material here on the channel. But yeah, I'm not gonna be too upset about it right now. Hopefully, we still got a month before the regular season starts. Hopefully, we can get it all ironed out by then. But anyways, that's gonna be it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you've made it all the way through. If you guys like this type of content, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button as well. It gets more eyeballs on the channel, and it helps out in the algorithm. Also, if you guys are feeling extra generous, Here's that Cash App. That's the best way to donate to this channel. Also, we have Super Thanks. It's another way you can donate. Just hit the thanks button at the bottom in the description. Right next to the like and dislike button, should be a tab called Thanks. That's another way you can donate to this channel. Also, we got a major channel announcement coming soon later on this week. You guys do not want to miss it. So if you guys do want to know what the update is, hit that bell notification as well so you guys get notified. Hit that subscribe button. Yeah, and that will be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will talk to you guys all later. Take care.